A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudannaika. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Defense Ministry's clarification on American and German research vessels. Ranilta Idademu motorcycle parade makes its way to the south. Election likely to be held on the 28th of September or the 5th of October, Andra Kumara says in Sweden. Dolevatta speaks of receiving stepmotherly treatment from his party. Who stayed at the hotel room that Zaharan used before he carried out the Easter Sunday attack. Mujibur Rahman questions again. Finance Secretary Mahinda Siriwardana granted a 1-year service extension. Finance Ministry hopes to lift the ban on importing vehicles by the end of this year or the beginning of next year.
And now the stories in detail. The Ministry of Defense has refused permission for a research vessel from the United States to enter the Sea of Sri Lanka.
The decision to refuse permission to the US research vessel was taken based on a policy decision by the government not to allow research vessels to enter the Sea of Sri Lanka. However, the Ministry of Defense said that permission has been granted for the ship to enter the Sea of Sri Lanka for the purpose of refueling and obtaining other services. The ship reached Sri Lanka on the 19th of April and left the country on the 22nd of April. Meanwhile, weekend newspapers reported that despite objections from China, a German research vessel has been granted permission to dock at the Colombo harbour. The Ministry of Defence confirmed this upon an inquiry made by Newsfirst. The ship was first granted permission to dock at the Colombo port in the month of March. On the 14th of April, this ship was granted permission to dock at the Colombo port today. The German research vessel was permitted to dock in Colombo for resupply crew changes. China had objected to permission being granted to the German ship to dock after permission was refused for a Chinese ship to dock at the Colombo port in February this year. President Ranil Wickremesinghe's government has temporarily halted foreign research ships after strong security concerns raised by neighbour India and the United States following the visit of 2 Chinese research vessels in 14 months. Dry rations were provided to individuals with low income in Mulgirigala. This event was attended by Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Kee Zeng-hong, and his spouse, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, MP Chamal Rajapaksa, and State Minister D.V. Chanaka.
විශාල ඉතිහාසයක් තියෙනවා. දෙගොල්ලෝ අතර සම්බන්ධතාවයට ආයන්ගේ යුද්ධයේ ඉඳලම මේ ඉතිහාසය දිවෙනවා. අපිට චීනය ආධාර ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. රටේ සංවර්ධනයට උදව් කරලා තියෙනවා. අපට සහල්
When we had a rice crisis in the 50s, we exchanged our rubber for ice. Also, the Chinese government has helped our country through various investments and increased employment opportunities, especially during the reign of Mahinda Rajapaksa. They helped us make the southern port, the Hambantota port, the Mattala airport, amongst other major development projects. It is an issue as to why these projects are not used properly.
A protest was staged today by a group of residents of Muthurnagar Trincomalee, claiming that plans are afoot to hand over the land that they live on to a private company in India.
About 300 families live at the Muthurnagar village and many of them live on land owned by the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. The protesting villagers said that they have been instructed to move to hand over the land on lease to an Indian company. They staged a protest march as well.
இந்தியா நிறுவனத்துக்கு விற்பதற்காக எங்களுடைய குடியிருப்பு காணிகளை இலங்கை துறைமுக பரம்பரையாக குடிந்து வருகின்ற இந்த காணிகளை இந்தியா
They are moving us out of our ancestral homes to sell off these lands to an Indian company. We do not agree to handing over our land to an Indian company. Markers were placed in our area that the areas have been earmarked for a solar power project in 2023 to 2024.
கல்லு கொண்டு வரது பால்பலா நட வேண்டியது மக்கள் எல்லாம் துரத்தி அடிக்கிறது
When inquired on the matter from Divisional Secretary for Trincomalee P. Daneshwaran, he said that these lands have been vested with the Sri Lanka Ports Authority by way of a gazette in 1984. He added that the Sri Lanka Ports Authority has planned on leasing out the land to a private company.
SJB MP Dr. Harsha De Silva says that in order to develop Sri Lanka, we must work together with India, which claims a large economy. He expressed these views while attending an event organised by the Upcountry People's Front in Hatton.
This country should be completely reorganized by restructuring and changing the country's economic policies. You must be knowing who PTR is. PTR is Palinivel Thiagaraja. I had lunch with Palini day before yesterday while he was in Sri Lanka for a few hours. If Tamil Nadu is considered a country, then it would be the fastest developing country in the world. The state of Tamil Nadu hopes to develop its economy up to $1,000 billion. Be it Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka and even Kerala, you will be able to see a huge development in these economies of these 5 states within the next 10, 15 to 20 years. We have now started discussions. We will continue these discussions in Tamil Nadu next month. Let's see how we can connect with these fast-growing economies. People who have never conducted any research on this topic are claiming that the Indians will come and conquer our country. They are saying that we shouldn't do business with them. All I can say to such people who aren't aware of what's happening is please do not talk about things you don't know. They said India will conquer the country when we imported ambulances from India. The ones who made such jokes back then are now ashamed of themselves. We should turn this Indo-Lanka relationship into an advantage for us. We have to use this relationship to increase the income of our people. We should work together with India. That is our vision.
Anunayaka of the Manlatu chapter, Venerable Dibul Kurumure Vimaladharmathera says that various divisions among Sri Lankans is the reason for country's downfall. The Venerable Thera expressed these views while attending an Adhisthana Puja organized by the National Agrarian Unity at the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic to invoke blessings to defeat forces against the country.
The National Agrarian Unity organised an Adhisthana Puja today at the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic with the aim of invoking blessings to defeat hostile forces against Sri Lanka. An offering of milk rice was also made to the Sacred Tooth Relic this morning. Thereafter, the Adhisthana Puja took place at the Mahamaluwa with the blessings of the Anunayaka of the Malwatu chapter, Venerable Dimbul Kumbure Vimaladharmathera.
This country is divided in terms of ethnicities, political parties, religions, castes, etc. This small country has been divided and they act separately. It is unfortunate, and because of our disunity that the country's ruling party and other parties are also divided and destroyed. Going forward, no party would be able to come into power and rule this country. Both the country and its nationals have been destroyed.
Representatives from several civil organizations were also present at the event.
Neither the President nor the Parliament are looking into the dangers this country is facing. They would rather appear for the causes of foreign nations. That is one of the reasons why Sri Lanka is currently facing many threats. Today we performed an Adhisthana Puja in the presence of the Sacred Tooth Relic with the intention of invoking blessings to defeat the arbitrary agreements in the country, to defeat the hostile forces against the country and to make Sri Lanka a prosperous nation.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe joined the annual Kitsiri Mela, New Year Festival, which is organised for the 28th time by the United National Party Colombo Central Organiser Kitsiri Rajapaksa along with Maradana Sudwalla Sports Club.
During the award ceremony at the Kitsiri Mela New Year Festival, awards were presented to the winners of the Aurud Kumariya competition by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Additionally, the President awarded prizes and certificates to the first, second and third place winners of both Ironman All-Ireland Championship and Cycle Race. Kitsiri Rajapaksa presented a memento to President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The President was also bestowed a special tribute gift presented by the members of Suduvella Muslim Welfare Association and Al Madrasatul Jalaliya Committee upon Kitsiri Rajapaksa. Senior advisor to the President on National Security and Chief of the Presidential Staff Sagala Ratnayaka, Chief of Defence Staff General Shavindra Silva and Director General of Presidential Trade Union Samant Ratnapriya were also present at this event.
Wins the election.
The motorcycle parade themed Ranilta Idademu continued today.
The Ranilta Idademu motorcycle parade began from Goviyapana Valigama today. Members of the UNP participated in this parade.
For the past 30 years, the people of this country did not give Ranil Wickremesinghe the leadership of the country. However, due to the current situation, Ranil Wickremesinghe was given the leadership. The opportunity given to Ranil Wickremesinghe by the universe was only given to him. We are not ready to allow this opportunity given to Ranil Wickremesinghe by the universe to be taken away from him.
The motorcycle parade that began in Valigama reached Mathura this afternoon. UNP members also joined the parade from Mathura.
The current president, Ranil Wickremesinghe, was supposed to be the leader of this country 25 to 30 years ago. We believe as a country we had a major setback because the presidency was not given to Ranil Wickremesinghe a long time ago. You can see the results of it now. During the past 2 years, the country was governed by the old United National Party government.
Kataragama is the final destination of this motorcycle parade.
Wins the election.
Andukumara Disanayaka of the National People's Power says that this year's presidential election will most likely be held either on the 28th of September or the 5th of October. He expressed these views at a meeting held in Stockholm as a part of his visit to Sweden.
Between the 17th of September and the 17th of October, a very decisive presidential election is expected to be held. We can change the country for the better if we can get a good result at the upcoming election. Will we be able to get a good result? If you are ready to give us such a result, we promise to not break your trust. Let's make this change together. We can't let this country go on like this anymore. We have to change this. All of these enemy camps will combine and be on the stage during this election. There is only one reason preventing the union of SJB and Ranil Wickremesinghe, and that is the personal animosity between Ranil and Sajid. If you want, I will tell you, the presidential election will most likely be held on either the 28th of September or the 5th of October. I say this clearly so that you can be ready with your tickets. We should all get together and make Sri Lanka a developed country. First, we have to get power. Then we have to develop the country. Therefore, I request all of us to work together for this purpose.
Wins the election.
Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca says that in order to build the country, the corruption and fraud that destroyed the country must be stopped. He made this statement while speaking at a conference in Ampara last night.
Corruption, fraud and mismanagement destroyed the country. Development is impossible until we eradicate these evils and build a culture of discipline. Our country will not develop until these are fixed. Our politicians talk big, but they lack the knowledge to address these issues. The future of the country is dark. I believe that politicians who are part of this system and who think that they are big players will not be able to fix this country. We have been hanging on to this broken political system as a nation for the past 75 years. If the adults don't dismantle this corrupt system, you will not be able to build a developed and decent country for your children that you hold dear. Adults must make some sacrifices to change this. When you're voting, if there is no decent person you can vote for, do not vote for anyone. If that happens, politicians will start to realize that what they are doing is not working, and they will either leave politics, or if they have some sort of wisdom, they will come onto the right path. Their dreams of a prosperous developed nation will remain unfulfilled. The time for change is now. We must hold our leaders accountable instead of violence. Let's demand action. Politicians must either actively pursue a better path or step aside. Let their choice be driven by genuine intelligence, not self-interest. This is the only way to build a brighter future for ourselves and, more importantly, for the generation that will inherit this land.
Wins the election.
The SLFP faction that backs Maithripala Sirisena are planning to hold their May Day rally in Gampaha. They visited the Gampaha Municipal Stadium yesterday to look into the preparations of their May Day rally. Meanwhile, another group of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party convened a press conference at the SLFP Horogolla Party office in Nittapur today.
Sri Lanka Nidahas Pakshawa පිළිබඳව අධිකරණමය කටයුත්තකට එළඹිලා තිබෙන අවස්ථාවක එක් පාර්ශවයක නායක.
At a time when a court case is ongoing regarding the leadership of SLFP, the current Minister of Justice is taking the leadership of one faction in the party. It is unethical and unacceptable. Therefore, we ask Maithripala Sirisena to hand over the leadership of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party to Sandrika Bandaranayake Kumaratunga, who has been in power for the longest time in this country. Instead of further dragging this party down, give her the opportunity to bring SLFP back in its government. We assure you that she has no plans to link SLFP to UNP.
අපි වගකීමකින් කියනවා එතුමිය ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයට සම්බන්ධ කරන්න කිසිම කටයුත්තක් කරන්න සූදානම් වෙන කෙනෙක් නෙවෙයි කියන එක අපි පැහැදිලිව කියනවා.
ඒ දාතරාගම ප්‍රිය ප්‍රකාශයක් කළා අයින් වෙන අය කැමති කරගෙන මේ ගමන යන්න කැමති යාට වයින්ආයවත් මේකට එකතු කර ගන්නවා කියලා. ආරාධනාවක් ආවොත් පිළිගන්නවද?
එතුමාට අධිකරණ අමාත්‍ය ධූරයෙන් අයින් වෙලා එතුමා ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ සමාජිකත්වය අරගෙන නියම ක්‍රමවේදය තුල ආවොත් මම හිතනවා මේක අපිට බාර ගන්න බැරි වෙන එකක් නැහැ.
Wins the election.
Meanwhile, SLPP MP Attorney-at-Law Premanatsi Dolawatha said that he is receiving stepmotherly treatment from the SLPP.
We have always received stepmotherly treatment from the SLPP. I am a member of the parliament who secured 70,000 votes from the Colombo district. Till today, I have not been given an electorate to engage in politics. No one accepted us as political leaders, but still we represent our party. I still stand with the party's policies. The party has always had an issue of not recognizing good people. There are problems like that, but we don't worry about it too much and continue to do our work patiently.
Wins the election.
Will the businessman Dhammika Pereira contest the presidential election? Dhammika Pereira made the following remarks attending an event to award certificates to students of 12 training centres in Mathura district of the EDP Education IT campus.
I have said that I will run for the presidential election if there is 51%. This DP Education IT campus program is not politically motivated but a program to rebuild the country. There are 10,000 people here today. It is not about whether this was done for politics or not. The Mahindodaya IT lab was built in 2012 with my personal money. It took me 12 years to get to where I am today. I believe even a government can do this because there are about 1,000 Mahindodaya labs in the government schools to run my program. My program runs on the best platforms in America. So apart from something like this, I don't think there is any other way to uplift the children.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says that all 22 million people are his friends regardless of caste, religion, class or party.
මා ඔබ සලකන්නේ ජාති ආගම් කුල මල පන්ති පක්ෂ ගෝත්‍ර
I consider all 22 million people of this country as my friends, regardless of caste, religion, class and party. I never try to divide or separate the people for any reason. Don't be fooled by the many false statements dividing people as only Sinhala or only Tamil. Those statements are made not to help children to improve their intelligence, knowledge or skill, but to collect votes to the ballot box of politicians. They come to one area and say Sinhala only and go to another area and say Tamil only. Do not be fooled by this.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa expressed these views attending the 166th phase of the Sakpala program to provide smart classrooms worth 1 million rupees to the Urapula Mahavidyalaya in Attanagalla, Gampaha.
Wins the election.
Parliamentarian Jayantha Samaravira said today that the presidential candidate of his alliance will be named before the Vesak Poya Day of this year.
We assure the people of this country that we can definitely inform the people about this by mid-May. We will build the broadest alliance. For those who were committed to make Gotabaya Rajapaksa win, who fought internally with the government to fulfill people's aspirations and then left the government when those aspirations were not fulfilled, a new alliance will be formed consisting of political forces that will be able to fulfill the aspirations of people of this country. We hope to announce the presidential candidate of this massive political movement by mid-May.
පොයට කලින් ඒ මහා මහජන ව්‍යාපාරයේ අපේක්ෂකයා ජනාධිපතිවරණ අපේක්ෂකයාව රටට අඳුන්වලා දෙන්න.
Wins the election.
Parliamentarian Professor Channa Jayasumana expressed these views.
According to the Constitution, a presidential election should be held between the 16th of September and the 16th of October. But most people are not confident whether the current president will hold this election. The first thing that needs to be resolved is whether the presidential election will be held on time, or will the president delay this by creeping through a loophole in the Constitution. If there is a presidential election, we hope that in the next 2 weeks, we will gather all these groups and bring them to one platform to create a common force.
Newsfirst with the people.
On to another one of our headline-making stories. Parliamentarian Mujibur Rahman's statement that the details of the identity of the person who stayed in the hotel room where Zaharan Hashim was lodging at the Shangri-La Hotel before the Easter Sunday attack has given rise to much debate. The parliamentarian indicated that these details would provide important insights into the Easter Sunday attack. However, the Minister of Public Security responded to this in Parliament recently.
Shangri-La Hotel Saharan Navati City Kamare 2009
Who stayed in the room where Zaharan Hashim was lodging in before the 20th of April 2019? Who was staying in room 623 adjoining the room of Zaharan Hashim? During the investigation into who had been occupying room 616 that Zaharan Hashim was lodging in before the 20th of April 2019, it has been revealed that no one had been occupying that room since the 13th of April 2019. There were 2 people occupying room number 623 and investigations have been conducted into them as well. There have been no details uncovered to suggest that they were involved in the Easter Sunday attack.
Convening another media briefing today, former parliamentarian Mujibur Rahman said that he was speaking of facts that were revealed in evidence during the Easter Sunday attack court cases.
I revealed this based on the evidence provided by the witnesses. These details were revealed while the case was ongoing. Instead of investigating into this, just saying that nothing has happened is not a proper answer. Details of all rooms from the 3rd of April 2019 to the 21st of April 2019 have been provided. The list includes all the names as well. Their identities were revealed. The report submitted to court shows if it was a guest or a staff member who opened the door. According to the reports presented to court by the Shangri-La Hotel, guests have been occupying the room 616 on the 14th of April 2019 and the 15th of April 2019. This report shows that the guest card has been accepted. So guests have been in that room. When the guest use their card and open any room in the hotel, the system records their name. But in room 616, the door had been opened on both of these days. It shows that a guest card was used, but there is no indication of who the guest is. We are questioning as to why the names of the guests in all other rooms were shown, but the name of the guest in room 616 only is not shown. Is it not an issue? It is an issue. If the other rooms report names, why is the name not shown in the room that Zaharan stayed in? After the bomb exploded on the 21st of April 2019, the time that Zaharan's room was opened has been reported to court as 9:52 a.m. The STF, along with the staff of Shangri-La Hotel, had opened the door. When the room was opened, the card and the time that the door was opened has been recorded on the system. Not only that, Zaharan has used that electronic card when he entered the hotel on the night of the 20th. The name of the person who had the card has been indicated in the system. The person is Ilham. Zaharan's other accomplice is Ilham. His name is on the system after he used the card. But when the room door was opened on the 14th and 15th, the system indicates that guests had opened the door, but the names are not shown. The witness from Shangri-La has accepted that there have been guests in this room. When they asked him who the guests were, he said that he doesn't know. When he is asked if the names have been deleted, he says that he does not know that as well. These serious matters need to be investigated. If 99% of the investigations are over, I would like to ask the Minister if the matter I raised has been looked into. How were the names deleted? The report states that there were guests. Who are those guests? Who can stay at a hotel like that without revealing their identity? Is there a category like that? Yes, there is. I spoke about this category before as well. We asked the Minister to investigate these. We don't know if the people who are preparing these reports are hiding these things from the Minister as well. I asked the Minister to read the case records. According to what I understand, someone is manipulating these things to create disparities between the investigations that were carried out and the reports.
කවුරු හරි මේක මැනිපුලේට් කරනවා. මේක කවුරු හරි පිටිපස්සේ ඉඳගෙන තමන්ට වාසිදායක විදිහට මේක හදනවා.
People held demonstrations in Thimbirigasyaya today as well, demanding solutions to Sri Lanka's pressing issues.
The people of Sri Lanka are slowly getting back to their busy day-to-day lives after the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, and just a week ago was the somber 5-year remembrance of the Easter Sunday attacks. The people of Thimbirigasyaya have joined here yet again in their 276th day of continuous protests. They are simply asking for a government change, a system change, and for justice for the victims of the Easter Sunday attacks.
So I like to see this country rid of corruption, because that is the only way forward. If not, if we don't do something from top to bottom, that is from our President, Prime Minister, Cabinet of Ministers, and then down to all the government officials, teachers, whoever, and then finally us citizens will have to stand up against corruption, and I feel that will be one of the ways forward to change our system, because 75 years of history show that we haven't got anywhere.
5 years since the attacks happened, and to date we have nobody responsible. 269 people died. Now that figure has gone up to over 280, almost 285. In 2 years since you took this position, what is happening? Why are you not following this through? Are you protecting somebody? With the election drawing close, we wish to remind our rulers that we will not forget this. Easter Sunday massacre is just one of the crimes that is against Sri Lanka. So many scams that have happened, so many crimes, Wasim Tajuddin, Lasantha Vikramatunga, no end in sight to these investigations.
The committee tasked with addressing administrative issues within Sri Lanka Police, including the delays in disciplinary inquiries, has submitted its report to the Inspector General of Police.
The police headquarters announced that a report prepared by the committee to expedite disciplinary procedures has been submitted to Inspector General of Police Deshabadu Thenakon. The committee, headed by Senior Deputy Inspector General in charge of the Eastern Province, Ajit Rohana, was tasked with identifying solutions to administrative issues plaguing police officers. These issues included delays in salary increments, allowances and promotions due to lengthy disciplinary investigations. The committee comprised DIG in charge of discipline, conduct and legal Division Rohan Gunasekara, DIG Jalya Sena Ratna, Director of Human Resources Management Division SSP WPG Senadira and Director of Discipline and Conduct Division SSP Nishantha De Silva. The police headquarters further confirmed that the committee's recommendations are to be implemented promptly.
The Ministry of Finance said that vehicle imports are expected to resume by the end of 2024 or early 2025.
A senior spokesperson for the Ministry of Finance said there are ongoing plans to allow vehicle imports subject to restrictions. He added that recommendations from the committee appointed by the President will be taken into consideration during the decision-making process. State Minister of Finance Shehan Singha recently said that discussions regarding vehicle imports had already begun.
Finance Ministry Secretary Mahinda Siriwardana has been granted a one-year service extension by President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Mahinda Siriwardana, who previously served as the Central Bank's Deputy Governor, retired from the position last Friday. The President's office cited Siriwardana's valuable contributions to International Monetary Fund negotiations and the ongoing debt restructuring process as the reason for the extension. Mahinda Siriwardana joined the service as a staff officer and is a distinguished official who worked in the Central Bank for 33 years. The war in Gaza and broader Middle East tensions are expected to get top billing at a Saudi-hosted special meeting of the World Economic Forum. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Palestinian leaders and high-ranking officials from other countries trying to broker a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas are on the guest list for the summit in Riyadh, capital of the world's biggest crude oil exporter. Saudi Planning Minister Faisal Al-Ibrahim told a press conference on Saturday previewing the event, quote, "We meet at a moment when one misjudgment or one miscalculation or one miscommunication will further exacerbate our challenges," end quote. Fresh Israeli attack on Gaza's Rafah kills at least 7 Palestinians, taking the death toll from another day of relentless bombing to 27. At least 10 of the victims are children. Hamas official Khalil al-Hayya says the Palestinian group is reviewing a new Israeli truce proposal, as Israel's foreign minister says a planned invasion of Rafah would be suspended if a prisoner swap deal is reached. More than 100 students were detained in the United States in a fresh wave of arrests as pro-Palestine protests sweep university campuses there. Hamas's military wing has published a video of 2 Israeli captives held in Gaza, showing footage of them calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to make a deal to secure their release. The video released on Saturday similarly filmed to previous captive videos made public by the group, which Israel has condemned as psychological terrorism. The 2 men identified as Keith, 64, and Umri Miran, 47, speak individually in front of an empty background. They send their love to their families and ask to be released.
אני בן 64. שמי עומרי מירן. אני בן 47 מקיבוץ נחל עוז.
Saturday's video comes as Hamas says it is starting Israel's last counter-proposal for a Gaza ceasefire after reports that mediator Egypt had sent a delegation to Israel to jumpstart stalled negotiations. The video was published during the Passover holiday, when Jews traditionally celebrate the biblical story of gaining freedom from slavery in Egypt. At least 34,388 Palestinians have been killed and 77,437 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since the 7th of October. The death toll in Israel from Hamas's October 7 attack stands at 1,139, with dozens of people still held captive in Gaza. Thousands of supporters of Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez have rallied in the streets of Madrid in an effort to persuade him not to resign. The socialist leader stunned the country on Wednesday by announcing he was cancelling all official engagements in order to reflect on his future. He took the decision after a court opened an initial inquiry into his wife over corruption claims. Sanchez will announce the decision on his future on Monday. Socialist supporters travelled by bus from across the country to attend a demonstration of support for Sanchez outside his party's headquarters in Madrid, chanting "Pedro, don't give up" and "You are not alone."
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.